Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today to talk about Saturn and Neptune's retrograde in Pisces. Saturn is starting its retrograde today, June 29th, 2024, and Neptune will join Saturn in retrograde in just a few days on July 2nd. And I think that this is a very interesting retrograde. All the stars have, their activities have so much to offer us, but these outer planets right now are offering us long-term shifts in the human experience. And Saturn, as it is going through the sign of Pisces, is really talking about creating strong structures within your spiritual practice, within your connection to your inner voice, to the bigger part of yourself that does not live in the physical, but rather holds space for everything you want outside of the physical. By nature, Pisces is a sign where we think of what we sleep, where we go into our bedroom and we literally dream. It's a place where, on a sort of more social level, we see it's where we put people who have challenges. We put them away. We have the Pisces can represent mental illness. It can represent orphanages and foster homes and addiction, rehab. But here, I believe that Saturn's entry into Pisces has called forth a standing and an awareness of where we escape and how we escape, and rather than trying to escape, to establish those spiritual connections and those daily practices that build a strong foundation for manifestation. So I've been a fan of having Saturn in Pisces because I personally know that as I go into my meditations and I talk to spirit about my intentions, that then I am inspired they inspire me into action, and that has been a very powerful way to move my personal story forward. So we start this retrograde with a bit of a challenge. Pluto is making an aspect to Mercury here in Cancer, and this would very much have me thinking about ways that I take care of myself, how I was affected by the nurturing in my home life, and Pluto may be unearthing some things, and Saturn representing history could also in its retrograde be unearthing things or bringing things up, but they're here to empower you versus to pull you under. I'm focusing this video on Saturn and Neptune essentially because I recorded 9 of my videos for July and went back today to finish them up, and they disappeared. So rather than getting frustrated, recognizing the Saturn retrograde, asking me to continue on, regardless of whether I'm comfortable, regardless of whether I'm going to make my deadline. And I felt, well, then, you know what? We'll just recalibrate and we'll do this video today about Saturn and Neptune's retrograde. Thinking Neptune, can be erosive, you can lose things. I digress a little with my personal story, but I think it's important because the opposition to Mercury can also rule my everyday things. And here's Pluto is in Aquarius, which rules the internet and me posting. I've got an opposition here. So rather than getting frustrated, I've decided, okay, I'm going to pivot. There must be a reason why this happened. There must be an opportunity. So here I am looking at Neptune at the 29th degree, recognizing today as a 29, looking at the 19 that reduces down to a 10, the 29 reduces down to an 11, the 1 of Pluto here, the nodes are at 11 degrees. How I think today is very important. And it's going to start to set a tone to build structure that will move my creativity forward versus feeling the erosive nature of Neptune. Let me move to the second where Neptune is. Oops, that's June. Yeah, there we go. Now we see both planets are in retrograde. This dynamic of Neptune is going to go on. The dates are this. Saturn is going to be retrograde from today, June 29th, through November 15th, 2024. It will go from 19 degrees to 12 degrees of Pisces. And the degrees hit me as yet another layer of that provides detail about what is the focus for this retrograde. So as I see the 29th degree reducing down to that 11, and the 19th degree not only being a 10, which also reduces down to a 1, it's the Libra degree, and Saturn is making an aspect to Venus on the day that Neptune goes retrograde at 19 degrees. So it's really giving me an opportunity to reflect on my talents, on how I use my voice to not only speak to others, but to speak to myself. Does my words and my verbiage match my intentions and what I want to experience? How confident am I? This sextile from Saturn to Mars right now, while Mars is in detriment technically in Taurus, here Mars is slowed down enough to look at the landscape of where he is walking. And is he following his heart, the Leo degree? And how, again, is my history affecting me? Cancer naturally rules the home, the motherhood experience, the mothering experience, the maternal experience. Taurus represents how we process that and how it felt to us and our sense of confidence as a result of our personal family history. And here is Saturn ruling world history and Pisces ruling the soul's history. So something very much is coming up for revision and for reconciliation. I think this is really powerful. We'll see these planets over the next few months making various aspects to the other planets, but I want to sort of emphasize in this moment that I think that Neptune's sextiles to Uranus and to Pluto, and we see it's still in a trine to Mercury, are going to be the main themes, liberating ourselves through the awareness of some new opportunities, experimenting with those opportunities as represented by Uranus, sort of putting myself out a little further into my dreamland. And Pluto is going to deconstruct any of the energies that are holding you back, any of the I can'ts, any of the, oh, I'm not being practical, because the practicality of the future is to the be, do, have. What is my belief about a situation before I go into my action? And that for me is very representational of Saturn's retrograde, because Saturn traditionally has followed earthbound rules. And while there are rules of the universe, the human has assigned the earthly rules to Saturn, and Saturn is a god. Saturn is much bigger than that. And so we're rewriting these dynamics as we move further and further into the 21st century. The retrograde, the other thing that I thought was interesting is that we're literally going to experience Saturn at 19 degrees we started on June 7th and we'll go all the way till July 21st. That's almost 2 months, little over about a month and 2 weeks, 6 weeks at 19 degrees. I think this is very powerful. We can see Neptune is still at 29 degrees. This is an emphasis on the thought, on creating harmony, on cooperation, creating a relationship with my spiritual guides, with my inner voice. I don't see this retrograde as a human experience of regression, but rather a remembering of a soul's knowing. And while Pluto has created oppositions in this first, few weeks between the Sun and Venus and Mercury during the beginning of this retrograde, that's bringing up how I was brought up, what I think about, what I speak about, how I find my value, how I make my money, and then how I shine my light out into the world. And Pluto is making aspects to Mars and Uranus, good aspects, aspects that point at the opportunities to integrate my experiences so that they liberate me. I don't have to release them. I don't need to chew on them. I don't need to examine them and dissect them. And for the first time in 2 years, Mars is moving into Gemini again, really being willing to look at how I think. And this exact trine to Pluto gives me the impression that I'm willing to be brave in that which has been dark for me before and now brings in light. On this particular day, the 21st, we do experience a full moon. It happened at 3:17 a.m. and it is obviously conjunct Pluto. So there's going to be some kind of revelation during this particular time. I didn't intend on going through the whole retrograde and all the aspects, but rather talking about a theme of this retrograde. When Saturn and Neptune move forward in November and December, Neptune's going to move into Aries in March, and Pluto will settle into Aquarius, and the dynamics within the Earth plane will change quite a bit. We will feel a sense of connection to our divinity, and we'll be willing to fight for it. And the foundations that we lay right now as Saturn, really encourages us to walk a path of authenticity, to put our money where our mouth is, and to have the courage to dream and then stick to the dream. I always tell people that Saturn, while it can be repressive and limiting and depressing and stoke our fears, Saturn never picks the lane for us. We as humans pick the lane that we endeavor, the career path, the relationships, intimate relationships, the friendships, the social circles. We pick all those dynamics. But Saturn stays steadfast in wanting us to continue to build, to create it in the material world. So here, Saturn is encouraging you to really look at what your talents are and what you want to create and what you want to experience, and then to be tenacious in that endeavor by using all the divine tools that are given to us. The divine laws of the universe, gravity being the most obvious one, but the law of attraction is as powerful, if not more powerful, than gravity. Gravity is very dense. The law of attraction is very expansive. So that is the theme for our Neptune and Saturn retrograde. Again, I had not intended upon posting this video today, as I was recording my July monthlies when 9 of them disappeared off my computer, and I'm going to have to redo them, so they'll be a little late. So if you hung out to the end of this video, I appreciate you and I love you. And please hit like, please subscribe, and please share. And join me tomorrow morning, Sunday, live, 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's where we're going to look at the transits for the week ahead. We'll do an angel reading and pull a tarot card for each one of the signs. And be on the lookout for those July videos. I hope to get them out this first week of July now that I'm redoing them all. All right, everybody, have a lovely Saturn and Neptune retrograde.